So you've chosen to be communicated with through smoke signal. Excellent choice.
One smoke signal coming up just for you.
Light it up, J-Man.
All right, bro, hand me the matches.
No, you were supposed to bring the matches. I brought the blanket for wafting.
No, I brought the chips to eat, and I brought the DVD for entertainment. Surfer Dude starring Matthew McConaughey. Wow!
Alike, while trying to work with the leadership team to find a new strategy and a path for survival. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, it is my pleasure.
Right. Better than half the people that showed up, and this was awesome, were rolling up on Japanese motorcycles, and those were people that we could not convert. Get them to step up and buy a bike that essentially does the same thing but costs twice as much money.
It kind of sounds like zzz.
Yeah, this is like a sewing machine, like something an old lady would ride. Anyway, I kid the Japanese bike owners. You're awesome, you rock. Don't come near me. Anyway.
Just rock over there by yourself.
Here's what we start discovering doing the demos, and this is what I say is going to change the trajectory of the business. It's an accidental discovery that becomes the blessing that changes the trajectory of the business. Because larger and larger crowds are showing up to take demo rides, the lines are getting longer. And what do we know about people standing in lines? They don't like to wait for things. So there'd be 10 people standing in line to ride a specific bike. The guy would take the bike, take his 15-mile ride, would get off, and as soon as he'd get off, we'd have our employee volunteers standing here. You'd have the bike right here, and you'd have the person, the man or woman who just got off the bike right there. I think we can all agree this is as selling dynamics go, it don't get any better than that. Your people, your product, potential customer. 100% of people, as soon as they would get off the bike, would do this. They'd pull their bike off, they'd pull their leg, and they would stare right at us. And the reason they're staring right at us is pretty freaking obvious. They expect us to say something. They expect there's going to be a conversation here. But what we found is anytime we started talking to this guy, the people standing in the line would start bitching. Come on, let's go. Boo, get it moving.
To introduce to you, my good friend, Ken Schmidt.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does.
So then we say, well, look, if we know everybody either wants to say something or wants to ask a question, let's figure out a way to do this as quickly as possible, because it would be stupid to not listen to what these people have to say. And this is when the clouds open and literally the hand of God reaches down and saves the business. Because we invented, and about the time it took me to just tell that story, a question that people could answer very quickly. And the question we asked everybody is, what do we need to change on this bike to get you to buy it? And here's where we make the discovery. The discovery is 100% of human beings standing next to another human being and asked a question will answer the question.
Ooh.
When's the last time you filled out a survey card? When's the last time you filled out a survey card in your hotel room? Nobody does this. Why? Because we don't think it's impersonal.
I need you to preach the good news on this. There's somebody out there today who's fighting this a little bit. Not here. It's a friend of yours who's at a different conference. Mm-hmm. But I'll work with business owners, not you, just fictitious business owners, but other people. And they'll say, like a lot of dentists, doctors, lawyers who I've never met will say these kinds of things. They'll say, I have a program where I text people and ask them for a Google review, mass text, or I mass email. And I go, that's cool. You have one Google review, and you're at the bottom of Google. And then they'll say, well, how does OxyFresh, your carpet cleaning business, have 147,000 Google reviews? We'll pull that up on the screen there. 147,000 Google reviews OxyFresh has now. 147,000 Google reviews. We're top in the world in 386 markets. And we do not ever, don't.
8 kids, co-created by 2 different women. 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
Ever get a Google review from emailing, nor do we even get a sincere response. So we ask people face to face, how was it today? What could we do better? We write it down, and then we ask, why is it so important to be face to face? Why does it not work in the digital age to automate your surveys?
The more, I guess the takeaway from all that is the more human your business is, that means the more visible it is, the more human, the more you take the invisible out of the equation. That's the digital stuff. That's the faceless, baseless, nameless question or the survey. The more you humanize the business, the faster people respond to that, because we all know how to do that. And we all see and recognize value in talking to another human being about what they could do better to help us versus filling out a survey after the fact or maybe 2 days later where you go, well, I was right there next to the guy. What's he going to do with this information now? So what starts happening is 100% of people are answering this question, and they're giving us incredibly simple but brilliant intel. They're saying, I love the bike, but I can't reach the handlebars. Could they be higher? Could they be lower? Could they be wider, narrower? Could they be curled back? Could the seat be higher? Could the seat be lower? Could the foot controls be further forward, further back, longer, shorter? Harley's a metal bending business. So the question comes down, what are people asking us to do? Is bend metal the way they want it bent. What are they saying they will do if we bend it the way they want it bent? They're saying that they will buy it because it'll fit their body, for God's sake. Why aren't we doing this?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
3, 2, 1, here we go! Started from the bottom, now we here.
We had like 12 varieties of handlebars in 1985. There's probably 300 varieties of handlebars. It's one phone call. Start bending them this way. Click. Guys in the plant hit a few buttons on the CNC machine and the bars come out this way. Almost immediately, word of mouth in the industry starts going in a completely different trajectory. And media and bike mags are writing about this because no businesses were doing that at that time. They're gathering customer intel, and here's the important thing, doing it right in front of customers so that they can see you doing this, asking the questions, gathering that intelligence, but we're also seeing a result and seeing the result pretty quickly. A few months later, there's stuff coming out into the market, and we're not saying buy this stuff because it's cool. We're saying this is what you asked us to do. And this is what we're doing. We're listening to you. We ride with you. We can't succeed without you. All messaging was about the rider, the potential rider, taking the focus away from the product and putting it on the person that we wanted to sell the product to.
Let's think about what you learned and how it affected the actual dealerships.
Yeah.
Because we go to page 112 of the Boom Book. How many people, by show of hands, have a brick and mortar company? How many people have a service where you go out to someone's home, you go there? Okay, so for OxyFresh Carpet Cleaning, the business that I've helped coach for years, we were showing that to you. We've now top in Google in the world for the phrase carpet cleaning quotes. A lot of people said, we would like, these are face-to-face conversations, we would like it if you would have uniformed people showing up to clean our carpets. And we'd like it if the uniform, if it was a nice uniform, if they showed up on time, if we could book a time and they were on time.
Started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom.
If they would ever take a shower previous to coming over, that would be awesome. If they could use less water so my carpet wasn't wet, for a week. If you guys could find a way to do that. If we could schedule online, and if you see page 112, there's a big checklist of things you can do, specific things to create this kind of wow experience. But how did the feedback you got from the bikers, how did that work its way into the dealership experience? How did you change that?
Pretty easy, because as we're standing, this was literally when we were doing these demo rides and taking these trucks out with a small band of employee volunteers. This was literally the first time for most people that in most markets that we went into that motorcycle people could stand toe to toe with people from quote unquote the factory. So now I'm talking to factory people here at Harley. It blows my mind that wasn't happening, but it wasn't. We sold a product, dealers bought the product, and they resold it. So now they're standing toe-to-toe with people from the factory, and they can see that these people from the factory are asking them questions about this thing that we do and how we can do it better and serve people better. And people were really digging that, but a lot of feedback we were getting from people was, I'd really like to buy the product. And it was mostly men at this time, and it's kind of important to realize at this time that the single largest hindrance to motorcycle ownership wasn't ability to ride a bike, it was spousal or important other approval. And my wife will not enter a Harley dealership with me because they look horrible. They look scary, they're full of criminals and thugs and drug runners, right? Selling these on...
In 1985, when Kim...
Reliable product, all this ugly stuff surrounded the most important part of the business, the point of the sale. So we get in a meeting room like this full of our dealers who are literally hanging by a thread A lot of them filed for bankruptcy. A lot of them lost their franchises, second, third, even fourth generation people. The ceiling's about this high. 90% of people in the room are smoking. It's hot. It's kind of a hostile environment. And we have to get in front of them and say, look, you're scaring people away. You are scaring people. They're not comfortable with this environment. People that are curious that want to come in are not coming in. And of course, they didn't take that feedback very well because it was basically blaming them for the problem. But we said, but what if, because we're positioning the product that we sell as a premium product, which is a fancy euphemism for really frickin' expensive. If we're going to be selling something that's premium, the environment has to reflect that. We have to have that initial visual connection that, like, wow, this is high end, this is really cool. And we didn't have that. And this is how this plays out. We get two dealers, one in Milwaukee and the other in Kansas City, to agree to work with us to completely revitalize their retail environment. And yeah, this is expensive, but nowhere near the kind of money that people spend now. But for businesses that are hanging by a thread, asking them to make these investments was huge. Right. So we helped these first two. We're going to do these as a test. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the physical environment of this. Most dealerships didn't have paved parking lots, okay? I mean,
Schmidt joined Harley-Davidson as their chief communications officer. The company was making bikes that were actually winning awards. So they were buying into...
That's an automatic. We work with these two stores, and every week, every Friday, we would send a telegram. That was our mode of communication with our dealers at that time, because most of them would not buy fax machines, and this was pre-internet. We send everybody a telegram of just bullet points. Here's everything that happened this week in these two stores. Here's the problem that we ran into. Here's how we solved that problem. Here's how much this cost. Figure. We're going to be as transparent as possible. Here's why this happened. Here's why this worked, why it didn't work. After about 12 months of this, the projects are done. The new stores are done. The employees in the stores, and this is really important, are trained to not push product, but instead to welcome people and delight them. These first two stores completely recoup their investments in a very difficult market in less than 18 months. The rest of the dealer network starts catching on to this, not because we're telling them to do this, but because dealers that surrounded the revitalized dealerships in Kansas City and Milwaukee began noticing that all their customers were going to these revitalized shops. So the message became pretty clear that, oh God, I need to do this, or they're going to siphon away all my customers. And like dominoes all across America, then Canada, then Europe, dealerships had tried to one-up each other by creating these really cool environments that people found attractive. And that's essentially what saved the business, because it's a street business. And what we would always tell dealers is, man, you don't have to be the best dealership in the world.
The lie that a great product will sell itself. They won the quality awards. They were focusing on quality, but they were...
You don't need to save Harley. All you need to do is be the best bike dealership in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I'm super excited about today's episode. We've got one of our brand new mentors. It's Jerry from Jerry's Landscape. Jerry, welcome to the Thrive 15 family.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Is there anything, before we get started with our episode here, that you just want to tell our Thrivers, just a nice tip for them?
Well, I think as I learned from my grandpa, he used to always tell me that you can lead a mule to the feeder, but you can't make him drink.
Wow.
And so I'm going to be talking fast. Yeah. I don't repeat. That's my style. Yeah. And you guys be ready to take notes.
So you're saying you can show us the path, but we've got to put action to it.
That's it.
I love it. I think that's great.
Great. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get started with what you're going to teach us today here. Mm-hmm. Now I see you've got some samples. Yeah. What are we looking at up front here?
That's a weed.
Okay. Any specific type of weed, or?
Just your basic weed.
Yeah. How do you get rid of weeds?
Yeah, well, you got to pull them.
Okay.
I could show you how to do it.
I'd love to see. Love to see an example.
So it's really simple here. So let's pretend this is the soil.
Okay. This is the ground.
So this is your weed, right? Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to get low.
You're gonna be up. Okay.
To the soil like this.
Sure. Yeah.
So you want to bend your legs.
Okay.
Lower your buttocks.
Sure.
Okay. Stick out your chest.
Okay.
You don't want to be pulling with your back. You're gonna have a short career.
Yes.
Okay. So you get your hands down as close to the soil bed as possible. Get your fingers on that root.
Yeah.
And then when you pull, you don't pull with your back. You pull with this. You pull with that right there. That's what you want. So you pull it, and so it's just a real simple. You grab, you grunt, and you pull, and that thing should come.
Selling anything. They weren't making a profit. And that is where Ken started. So ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from Mr. Ken Schmidt.
Hey!
So Ken, you started from the bottom when the
straight
and
up.
You're going straight up.
Straight up,
And
right
you'll
out.
see the root underneath that.
That's exactly right.
That's a great lesson for our Thrivers. Now, what would you say has driven your business for the past 20 years?
I would say my Chevy 1500.
Okay.
It has been a workhorse.
What is this right here?
Oh, this is the key to growing really nice grass.
Okay.
What this is soil.
Okay. And is this something that I can touch? Or?
Sure, absolutely. Get your fingers in there.
Okay.
It is, I would say, probably 80% manure.
Okay. Okay. Did not know
But
that.
and there is an aroma with it as well. It's kind of a spiritual thing for me
Sure.
when I mix it.
Sure.
But you can go to my website, jerryslandscape.uk, to order that.
And .uk, that's
.uk.
United Kingdom,
It
London,
is.
Great Britain. Why
Yeah.
are you .uk?
Well, it's kind of my style.
Sure.
I learned from the
Learned from the British people, yeah. They've got some
they're
great
known
landscaping.
for their shrubbery. They're
Yeah.
known for their grasses.
Does that ever confuse anybody, the .uk?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we get calls all the time. People are like, hello, could you come do my lawn in New Brunswick?
And you don't travel.
And it's like, no, man. We're from Oklahoma. Sorry, we don't do that there.
Have you ever thought about making this a franchise where you do have, Jerry's landscape in other states, other countries, Canada, Mexico,
yeah.
Great Britain, France, wherever, Paris?
I don't know, man. That sounds like a ton of work. Just in travel time alone, I don't know what it would take up all my time.
We got some great lessons on franchise.
company had great bikes, but you weren't making any money. How did you fix it?
I did it all in one day.
That you might want to check out. It'd be good. It'd be
sure.
good.
Before we move on, I told you how the mixing of the soil and this whole horticulture
Yeah.
thing is a very spiritual thing for
Sure,
me.
yeah.
Could I speak an ancient blessing over show and all that?
I would love
be
that.
fine with
I would love that. Should I just kind of...
No, you just stay there.
Okay.
I'll be fine. Ha hooga hee hoo, ha ho ha, ha hinga, tatunga hoo hee. Thank you.
Whew. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
Everybody, Jerry from Jerry's Landscape.
Well, I can say just from this last January to last January, if you just took that month with our online shipping orders, we grew 240%. I would say two things, and you did not pay me at all to say this, but I would definitely go to one of your conferences, because what I tell people, it's not a motivational conference, it's an action-packed conference, and you're going to learn the steps to grow your business and scale it if you want.
If your mom has a sweet tooth, you might want to listen up. We recently talked to an Albany-based cheesecake company led by a mom with an inspirational story and some delicious decadent cakes. Check it out. I'm joined now by the owners of beloved cheesecakes, Jen Jacobson-Brusa and Gabe Jacobson. Thank you both for coming on. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, thank you so much.
Folks, on today's show, we have the pleasure, the honor to be joined with a real...
Okay, we'll just do it the old-fashioned way.
Oh, you mean like with a lighter?
No, just like get a couple sticks to rub together.
Sure.
Yeah. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get this thing fired up. What I want you guys to do.
Hey, I got a question for you. Where the heck are we?
Tulsa,
This
Oklahoma.
is wild, man.
It's like the Disneyland of entrepreneurship.
Never seen anything like this. I came in from Washington, D.C. last night, and I thought this was going to be a meeting room.
Longtime client of mine, a wonderful lady. She's built a wonderful business called BelovedCheesecakes.com. Jen, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Clay.
Hey, I was good. The reason why I wanted to interview you on today's show is that at the conference we did, the last conference we did, you came up for a while. We had you do kind of a question and answer session. And we had one particular conference attendee that was telling me they were very inspired by the fact that you are just on your grind. You're implementing these action items. And they were saying that they felt through hearing you talk about how you were embracing the grind and diligently implementing the action steps that we've been coaching you through, it inspired them that they too could do it. So I wanted to ask you first, how did you originally hear about us or the coaching program that we offer here at the Thrivetime Show?
My first time hearing about you was at the Reawaken America Tour in Oregon of 2022.
Okay. And you know, we've worked with you since that time, and it's been really spectacular to watch you grow your business. For the listeners out there that aren't familiar, I'm going to pull up your website. It's belovedcheesecakes.com, belovedcheesecakes.com. Tell us about the business, how many locations you have, and just kind of give us a little bit of familiarity into your business there.
Yeah, so I started Beloved Cheesecakes 5.5 years ago as brick and mortar in a small town, Silverton, Oregon. And that was 8 months before the lockdown. And anyways, end up having you come on board, and we've been growing. We now have 2 brick and mortar locations, have an online presence.
Hotel, frankly. So this is kind of blowing my mind. You got a band, for God's sake, and they're dressed in Christmas clothing. This is really cool.
And now I'm in a prestigious, like, bougie grocery store and 20 different restaurants and growing.
So let's talk about it real quick here. Jack Welch, the CEO of GE, and I'm not trying to paint you into a corner, and I don't expect you to be a Jack Welch expert, but he did grow GE by 4,000%. He's also the best-selling author of a book called Winning. He wrote the following quote. He said, "You've got to eat while you dream. You've got to deliver on short-range commitments while you develop a long-term strategy, envision, and implement it. The success of doing both. Walking and chewing gum, if you will. Get it done in the short range while delivering a long-range plan and executing on that." Man, I wish more entrepreneurs could hear that quote and understand it as it relates to your business and as it relates to you being a coaching client of ours. Talk to us about the balance between having the big vision of where you're going and then also needing to answer the door when a new customer comes in, shipping the cheesecakes out, hiring staff. Talk to us about the balance of thinking about your long-term vision and also your short-term daily demands.
Yes. Well, what I've learned from you and the business conference is how important it is to have a schedule. And if you don't have a schedule, your schedule is going to run you, having your to-do list. And that's what it is. It's not, I in the past have been easily distracted with the busy things, you know, and I have to stay focused. I've learned that from you as well.
We're stealing from your playbook.
Hey, right on. Okay. Try to keep this short. I tend to be long-winded and apologize for that. Let me tell you what I did on my...
There's so much I've learned from you. But, you know, I mean, just today, I'm having to work the front. I'm dealing with customers, but I'm also having to make sure that we have everything taken care of for next week and have our, you know, inventory and supplies and all that ready for next week. So it's just staying on task, not getting sidetracked, and being able to say, I mean, I just had customers come in and they know me and they're like, "Oh, hi, I haven't seen you forever." And I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I have a call I have to take," you know? So it's just staying on task.
Now, I'm going to pull up the I'm going to go 90 miles an hour because that's what it's like being an entrepreneur. So I'm going to go 90 miles an hour because that's what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And I'm going to walk people through this path that we're guiding you down, the path that you're going down, and the path that's producing success for you. First off, you have to know your goals. Jen, 90 miles an hour. Why do you have to know your goals as an entrepreneur every single day?
Well, if you don't have your goals, then what are you shooting for? It's like I've never been a basketball player, but you're not making the shot. You're just like throwing the ball and just hope it goes wherever. So you've got to know where you're shooting and have your goals for that.
Now, I'm not fishing around for you to tell me the answer on this, but I want the listeners to know, you know your break-even point. You have to know how many customers you need just to break even. Maybe it's not the most fun to think about that, but every entrepreneur needs to know the numbers. Box number 3, you have to know how many hours you're willing to work. And you're somebody who will outwork almost anybody. You are a very hard worker, a diligent worker. You're also a business owner. You're also a mom. Let's talk about that. Because
first day of work at a company that had just 2 weeks before I started, laid off 40% of its workforce. That's both on the manual.
The Bible in Genesis and Exodus, it talks about working 6 days a week and resting on the seventh. I think most Americans today don't work more than 40 hours a week. Let's talk about the grind.
It's real, we now are in this bougie market called Zupan's Market here in the Portland area, and we have to deliver to them. So we have to be up at 4:30 in the morning on Wednesdays and be delivering. And then Wednesday we had an event that started at 5 and went until 10 at night. So we didn't get home until 11:30, and that's just what you have to do. You have to keep digging the ditch. I know it won't be like this forever, but right now you just have to keep doing it.
Now, the next area, the next box, and I want to brag on you for this. A lot of clients come to me and they say, hey, I don't really have a unique value proposition. You guys had already, box number 4, had already established step number 4, a unique value proposition. Beloved Cheesecakes, you had already developed the flavors, the product, a great dessert item. I didn't need to help you with any of that. You'd already had that in place. I think the one thing we had to work together on, though, was to gather objective reviews from happy customers. So now when people go to belovedcheesecakes.com, we've got a large variety of happy client testimonials, objective reviews on Google, video reviews, and you can't fake that stuff. Can you talk about the importance of A, having a unique value proposition, and then B, gathering reviews from real people so that other people know about your unique value proposition?
Well, definitely. We have an amazing product that we're
Manufacturing side, and that's on the internal side. So finance, marketing, administration, mailroom, welders, painters. The blood was splattered everywhere.
consistent. It's high quality. We have our no-brainer, which is free cheesecake samples. And I try to tell a lot of my business friends, offer something for free, or, like how you do $1 for your first month of coaching. And then what was the second part of the question?
No, I'm sorry to do a two-part question, but I mean, one is you already had a great product, but I think one thing you and I've worked on together is making sure that the world knows it's great by gathering objective reviews. And before I met you, I think you had people love the product, but there wasn't a lot of online evidence that people did.
No, there wasn't. And I'm going to be honest, the first month coaching with you, I thought, this is so dumb. Why am I focusing on Google reviews? But I'm so glad that I focused on it. We've got amazing reviews, and it does make a difference. It keeps us up in the algorithm. It keeps us up on, people find us all the time through Google searching for best dessert or cheesecake. And then it's, you want real experience. You want people to actually share and not be fake. So I look at reviews.
Now, since you and I have met, have you noticed an increase in the amount of online traffic or online orders or online purchases? Because again, you already had a great product before you and I met. And have you seen an increased amount of online traffic?
Oh, 100%. Increase in online traffic, increase in walk-ins. I mean, it's everything that I've implemented. Having you as a coach, if I wasn't doing the action steps that you share with us, then I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And I mean, I think of myself without you in my...
There was not a bank in America that would issue Harley-Davidson a line of credit in September of 1985, which is why...
life, and there's no way. I would not have known about the Dream 100. I wouldn't have known about the Google reviews, the images, the SEO, the more images, more reviews. I wouldn't.
And you're into what's so fun, and why I called you today. I said we have to get you on the show. Is here we had an entrepreneur you've never met before, and I won't mention his name, but he was coming to our conference, almost depressed about where he was at with his life and his business. And he came to the conference because his family is so successful. So his family said, look here, buddy, you should come to this conference. And so he is a member of the same family, different business. And he's like, wow, my family's having success. There must be something wrong with me. I don't know why I'm not having success. And when you came up and had the courage to just share about, wow, this is a grind, it inspired him to take action, and it's been unbelievable the success it's had on him. Box number 5, branding. You guys have great branding. Everybody out there, if you want to see great branding, go to belovedcheesecakes.com, order a cheesecake, and you're going to see great branding. I'm talking about the packaging, the way the product shows up, the way the product tastes, the follow-up process, the way you call consumers if they have questions. Branding is a big thing. Branding is what consumers think about when they think about your business. Can you talk about the importance of being intentional about your branding?
We are very intentional with our branding. So, we are all about having a high quality, consistent product and giving excellent customer service. So we do a handwritten note with every cheesecake.
My first official job at the company was putting together our communication plan to announce to the world that we were filing for bankruptcy, which I can tell you is a really shitty time to start a new job. Okay.
That is shipped. We call our orders. I mean, that's kind of a dinosaur age of people calling on the phone nowadays, but we call and thank them for their order, verify it, confirm it. And that's what we want to be branded for, is having exceptional customer service and exceptional product. And just even coming in, like going to your conference, I can try to tell everyone to go to the conference, but you have to go and experience it. And it's the same thing with beloved cheesecakes. I can tell you all about it. You can experience the taste of it, but it's different when you actually come in our building. And that's another exceptional brand that we have. We have signs all over the walls, and that's our branding inspiration.
Now, the final 5 minutes we have you here, again, we're going to go 90 miles an hour because that's the way entrepreneurs go. You broke away from your very busy day to do this interview, and I appreciate you doing that. A three-legged marketing stool, you have to have a consistent, turnkey, repeatable way to get customers. Now, in your business, we do the Dream 100, where we reach out to our ideal and likely buyers, and we let people know about the product, aka the gourmet grocery store, podcasters, influencers, that kind of thing. The second leg is we gather objective reviews from happy consumers, and we also write search engine content to come up top. So leg number 1 is Dream 100 marketing. Leg number 2 is online marketing. And leg number 3 is signs and wonders. You have compelling locations. You put up signage that makes sense. You're always offering the consumer a no-brainer offer for first-time customers. Can you talk about the mental stress that has gone away by knowing that you have a three-legged marketing stool of things that work?
Everyone says, who'd you call first? The unions? I said, no, I called my wife and said, don't buy anything. Click.
Because so many of my coaching clients tell me, they say, Clay, before we started working with you, we were trying everything and we didn't know what would work. And now we've got 3 things that do work. Could you talk about that, the importance of having a three-legged marketing stool in place?
Yeah, well, I think it does, because when you're hit as a small business owner, you have the people that have magazines, and they want you to be in their ad, or your radio stations. And, before I knew you, I was investing and bleeding with these radio ads and magazines. And, it's very simple. We have our Google reviews, we have signage, we have the SEO, we have all of these things, and we track how we ask every single person how they hear about us. And so we have a spreadsheet, and we're able to keep track of how people are hearing about us. And so we can see where our marketing dollars are of value. And we have returning customers, and so many people come in because they see the signs and then the Google reviews, so it is important, and it's simple. We make it so much harder by, doing all the other fluff, I guess. And
now,
yeah.
I don't want to paint you to a corner. I'm not looking for a hard number. I'm just trying to build somebody's encouragement they can do it. If you had to think back 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, in terms of the amount of online business you're generating now, people that find you from the internet, whether it be locally or online from out of state, how much kind of an increase do you think you've seen in online or traffic that's generated from search engine optimization, that kind of thing?
Ships going down. No money to spend. And that's a very, very important element of all this, and all the more.
And then maybe 2 years ago.
Well, I can say just from this last January to last January, if you just took that month with our online shipping orders, we grew 240%.
It's so great. If you're out there, folks, I get emotional, coughing it up here, allergies. No, but if you look up Jen and her business, you are a very approachable, very normal person, but you're in the grind. And so my final 2 questions I have for you. Question 1, what do you say to any entrepreneur out there that's stuck? They feel like, oh my gosh, I have so much that I need to do. And and in this case, this young man came to a conference and his own family's there with him. He's feeling like he's not keeping up, like he doesn't have what it takes. And your message encouraged him so much. He felt like he could do it. What do you say to somebody out there that feels kind of stuck?
Well, I would say two things, and you did not pay me at all to say this, but I would definitely go to one of your conferences, because what I tell people, it's not a motivational conference, it's an action-packed conference, and you're going to learn the steps to grow your business and scale it if you want. And then also, we do here at Beloved Cheesecakes, we have our to-do list, but we've taken 6 of the to-do list items, 7 of them, make them our priority for the day, and at least
kind of magnificent about why what we started to do began working, because frankly, I think if we had a lot of money to spend,
check off those 7 items or 6, 7 items a day. So that way you are doing a little bit every day and you're seeing a dent in your to-do list as it keeps growing.
Now, final question I have here, and I know you have to get back to your shop because it's a very busy day there at belovedcheesecakes.com. A lot of our listeners, they look for a great gift idea. They want to get their spouse something for maybe an anniversary. Somebody's dating somebody. They're looking for a gift. Maybe they're going to take a gift to a family member. Maybe it's a birthday, Valentine's, 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever the holiday is. And I encourage everybody out there to check out your products. But what should everybody check out if they have yet to experience belovedcheesecakes.com?
I would say check out our mini cheesecakes. You can get those. They're 4-inch cheesecakes, and you can pick up to 4 kinds. That's our ultimate sampler. You could do that. But yeah, we have Easter coming up. We have Mother's Day. We have graduations, all of those things coming up. And, it does make such a unique gift to give to someone that has everything. So,
Jen, thank you so much for your courage, A, to come up at the conference and share your story. I encourage so many people. And B, thank you for carving out time amidst your very busy day to be on the Thrivetime show today. I encourage everyone to go to belovedcheesecakes.com. That's plural, Beloved Cheesecakes with an S, belovedcheesecakes.com. Jen, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Clay. You have a great day too.
Bye-bye.
Clay, my honor to be on your show.
Is to go to a window facing to the west. I think it's probably the best way to go. Or even just like getting on top of your roof.
The company that you see and know today probably wouldn't exist. We'd have spent ourselves out of existence because we were focused, as I'll get to in a minute, on all of the wrong things. I was getting a lot of ideas.
Thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
Sean, guess what's happening June 5th and 6th right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem?
We are probably going to have an amazing business conference here at Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Yes, we're joined by Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is going to be joining us right here at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters, June 5th and 6th. He's a very successful football player, obviously a Heisman Award winner, but he's also a very successful entrepreneur. Now, when you work with real clients, Sean, clients you really work with to help them grow their companies, do you ever hear a business owner tell you that they didn't have time to get something done?
Every day.
How often is not having enough time a problem for business owners?
All the time. It's like maybe 90% of the issues as people are trying to grow their company.
Well, Tim Tebow is going to come join us here at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, and he's going to teach us time management and his approach to personal self-discipline and getting things done. Also at the workshop, I'll put up on the website so people can see it here. Also at the 2-day interactive workshop, Sean, we are going to be teaching accounting, systems creation, marketing, human resources, how to hire, inspire, train, and retain great people, accounting, social media advertising, search engine optimization. Sean, what's the area where most clients ask you for help the most? Is it generating leads? Is it hiring people? What's the biggest issue that most business owners have by default before they come to one of our workshops?
Well, I think it's management, because time is the most
people inside the company about what we needed to do to, change the company's image, because the company had a horrendous image.
Valuable resource for these business owners, and being able to manage their time is the first thing. Once they get that under control, then generally the numbers, being able to track their business and be able to make the best decisions based on numbers rather than emotions is a big area. And we teach all of this stuff at the business conference, particularly you, Clay. You love to hammer on time management. It's my favorite part of the conference.
Now, I'm going to pull this up real quick here because we're going to go through. If you're not excited, I want to get you excited about what we're going to cover at the workshop here. Okay.
All right.
The 2-day interactive workshop. This is my 20th year hosting workshops. So I'm telling you, folks, we're in rare form here. So one is the idea of establishing your revenue goals. I think most entrepreneurs don't know their revenue goals. Would you agree, or am I off my rocker?
No, that's totally a very important point we do with every one of our new clients that come on board is we have to establish the revenue goals. And generally speaking, we have a vague idea, but not an exact idea that can be engineered down into like the daily goals for sales. And so that's a really big one.
Now, next is the break-even numbers. What kind of sales do you have to do to even break even?
Yeah.
Third is how many hours per week do you want to work? What is your ideal schedule as an entrepreneur? Box number 4, how do you stand out in the clutter of commerce? What makes your company unique from all the different businesses? In a world of brown cows, herds of brown cows, proverbial brown cows, the analogy of brown cows, how can you be the purple cow that stands out? How can you be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil? Box number 5, branding. How do you improve the perception that people have of you, your business, your brand? Box number 6, market.
Time, think, Hell's Angels and outlaws and banditos and drug runners and cop killers and all that other kind of nonsense.
Sounds pretty bad.
Business. So I get a lot of ideas.
Your 3-legged marketing stool. What is a turnkey way for you and your company to generate leads so you can succeed? Because if you don't have any leads, your business will bleed. If you can't sell, your business will go to hell. You've got to generate leads. Sean, how often do business owners by default tell you they have a hard time generating leads?
It's almost all of the time. It's really a huge struggle. And many times they may be creating leads, but just through word of mouth. So they get to a point where we've implemented systems and then they need to create more leads, but they've never had to do it. So there's a lot of different scenarios where business owners are like, how do you create leads? Something we hammer on at the conference a lot.
Box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Again, box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Sales scripts, recorded calls, one sheets, pre-written emails, lead trackers, all of the sales tools, the sales print pieces, the one sheets, the big screens that you see inside the business. Whether you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you got to have sales systems in place. We help you with that. Box number 8. What does it cost you to get another customer? Step number 8, what does it cost you to actually acquire a customer? Step number 9, it's hard to build an organization if you're not organized. We're going to teach you how to create repeatable systems, processes, file organization. Box number 10, we're going to teach you how to manage people, real people on the planet Earth. This just in, we're going to teach you how to manage real people on the planet Earth. Box number 11, how to create a sustainable schedule that works for you and your family. Step number 12, how to create human resources systems for recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining great
people about what we needed to do and how we needed to convince people to buy the product, all of which required money. So first day of work,
people. Box number 13, accounting. This just in. We have to cover accounting. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. We're going to cover all the accounting things you need to know. And step 14, finally, what is the point of even achieving success? We're going to go over what is the point of even achieving success, how to design a life that you're excited about, how to design a life where you carve out enough time for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, and where you're going to spend your focused time. We're going to go through that, all this and more. Now, the workshop, Sean, it's June 5th and 6th.
Yep.
It's a 2-day interactive workshop.
Yes.
And tickets, we always do. It's $250 or whatever price that someone can afford. Sean, why do we let people name their price? Why do we have scholarship tickets available if somebody can't afford the $250 general admission ticket?
Well, we don't want anybody to miss out on it. You could be at a startup phase or you could be, way along in your business, but we want to make it accessible for everybody. I think it actually goes back to a story of your dad. And it goes all the way back to how you've always done this as a business coach, trying to make sure that, your average people out there have access to the things that work.
Now, 7 a.m. to 5, Sean, why do we go from 7 to 5 both days? I mean, it's 10 hours a day. 20 hours of training over 2 days. Why do we do 10 hours a day, Sean, of back-to-back workshops? We do a 30-minute teaching session. We do a 15-minute question and answer session, and then we take a break. 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of question and answer, then we take a break. Why do we do that format, Sean?
That format is so that we can keep people engaged and not just sitting there listening, but also getting involved. We really encourage people to ask questions, and that's really where the juiciness of the conference comes out, is you can put your personal situation and your...
I rounded out 3 questions on my typewriter. Typewriter, folks, it's a communication device used for... Anyway, and those 3 questions... I know that they're very, very
questions on the board, and Clay will tee off and give you direct advice. Even without being in our coaching program, you can get direct coaching from Clay. It's really a very engaging format. I enjoy it a lot.
Sean, final 60 seconds pop quiz here. What date is the conference?
June 5th and 6th, 2025, this year.
Question number 2, who's our keynote speaker coming to the conference there, Sean?
Tim Tebow is our keynote speaker.
Sean, question number 3, how much does it cost to come to our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I think it's, did you say it's $250 or whatever you can afford?
That's right, $250
yes.
or whatever you can afford. Sean, how do you spell Eric Trump backwards?
P-M-U-R-T-C-I-R-E. Ooh, that took a long time.
I'll have to listen to this. You did it right. All right, again, that's Sean Lohman. I'm Clay Clark, inviting you to come join us at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sean, I'm excited to have this event. I'm excited to see you at the event, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tim Tebow, baby. It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
important questions, and I'll hit you with them in just a second, but they essentially became the foundation upon which we built a global empire, a global brand. And the 3 questions.
Hey guys, Luke Erickson here with the Thrivetime Show. As you can see behind me, we've got all kinds of energy going on. People are starting to show up for the conference, and it is hot in this place. We got grill guns over here. We've got people playing the drums. We've got a fire breather, and man, people are so excited as they come in.
The conference is kicked off. This house is packed. We've got Aaron Hansis with Sean Holmes up there. We've got Steve Currington with Total Lending Concepts up there talking about what is possible when you just implement, when you do the improvements. It's so exciting. People are going crazy.
Guys, Luke Erickson with the Thrivetime Show here with you. It is day 2 and the energy is high. People are so excited to be showing up. The team is ready. Come on, let's see what it's like to go on in for day 2. Follow me. I'll tell you what, people are so excited to be here for day 2. It is going to be incredible. Cannot wait to see what today has in store.
Right now, here at the conference, we've broken into groups going over search engine optimization. And I know for most of us, myself included, if you hear that term, you go, what is that? What does that mean? That's too techie for me. Well, our experts are breaking it down for people so that you can clearly understand how to come up top in Google.
Or what are people saying about us? What do we want them to say about us? And what are we doing to make them say it?
Ken, I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
And I want to look.
It's doable. It's possible.
Now we're in the middle of a break, and what we like to do is we like to give you as much tangible and relevant information from about the start of the hour for 45 minutes. Then we take approximately a 15-minute break to allow people to connect with other entrepreneurs around them, bathroom breaks, and also use this time to just really digest all of the good information that you're receiving the whole time. Right behind me, we've got Bob with his grill gun. melting an ice sculpture. It is awesome. The ice sculpture represents our life, right? It's here for a time, but we all need to have the sense of urgency to implement the things that we're learning so that we can make the most of the time that we have.
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur, I think, would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation.
Driver's on page 107, if you're following along. Ken asked these 3 questions, and other companies that ask these questions would be Whole Foods.
Shouldn't make you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. Man, there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been 2 major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on, expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. That's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing.
Whole Foods has asked these questions. Apple has asked these questions. Chick-fil-A has asked
one of my
these.
favorite businesses.
Starbucks
Chick-fil-A.
has asked these questions. Most small business owners
I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us, and it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum.
We ask these questions, so we get stuck talking about how we don't have a lot of resources. So once you asked those questions, tell us what happened next.
Okay. Of working with so many different types of businesses, that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing, and Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year
or finding a parking lot or something that's a wide open expanse, look to the west and be looking for us. We're gonna get the. Here you go. What are you doing? Oh, it's too small.
Essentially, the reason I was doing this was say, look, we don't have money to spend. We need to assess what our and internalize and understand what our current reputation is, what people are.
History of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us, and I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads, going from 10 a month to 180 a month. That would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it, because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love the building relationships, but one thing that
about us, but then we also need to create our sort of, plant our flag in the sand of what we
was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent, everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due, and Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that.
People saying about us, what do we want our reputation to be? And then third and finally, how can we harness the power of our customer base and our dealer base and our supplier base, anyone who's important to the business?
My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I mean, I went to medical school, I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 investment. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you, so congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400.
To talk about us, to spread our narrative the way we want it to be spread, so that people, won't be afraid of us.
Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodward Finishing, business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working.
Be drawn toward us and will see us differently than maybe they did in the past, and that's not stuff that could be done with advertising. Thank God, it's basically saying let's harness the power of the people that we serve and make them
together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be, when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can.
Advocates for us, and it's a lot easier, frankly, than it sounds.
There's a book called Radical Marketing, which basically...
And maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous, just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach, you know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And
it's a case study about what you were doing. I don't know if are you aware of the book they wrote about you?
No.
So Radical is a book that explains what Ken did. And it's really funny. No, seriously, this is a book I read about this guy before I read the book that you wrote. And so,
as my rich dad always said, you know, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever is important. You know, my rich dad was one of those persons. You're on it, man. You're on it. You're on it. Everybody, listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. You have the macro picture. Very few people have that point of view. Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble.
So reading this book, and they were talking about how Harley customers like loud motors.
Yes.
You have handlebar designs you liked. And apparently before you got there, there was a rush to make the bikes more efficient, more like compete with the Japanese bikes, almost like a rush to the bottom. Can you talk to me about some of the bad ideas that Harley was pushing out that were not working before you began to ask these things?
To that point is we learned
I'll get another one.
Horrible but incredibly valuable lesson that the rest of the world, especially people that manufacture, build, or sell a product, either haven't learned or are about to learn the hard way. As we were 100% internally focused, 100%, as we needed to build a product that was, and I need fingers for this, world-class and bulletproof and industry-leading and have superior quality and reliability and quality and all that stuff that people associate with a good product. Because our belief was, geez, the reason people aren't buying our products the way they did in the past is because stuff coming from Japan or Germany was seen as better than ours. So if we made something world class, well, everybody would come and want to buy the American option. Tons of things were done. Tons of improvements were made. Incredible stuff happening in the manufacturing plants that resulted in what you just mentioned. Absolutely world-class products coming out of Harley. And every motorcycle magazine on the planet put us on their covers. And we'd never been on bike magazine covers since like the 1930s because nobody liked us. Because, we sold to thugs and criminals and rapists. Profitable little market niches, though, so don't knock it. And this is where we're about to learn the lesson, because once those bikes came out for the 1986 model year, everybody took their foot off the gas. I said, we did it. Woohoo! Like light up the cigars, because there's going to be a stampede of people coming in to buy.
Today, for the vast majority of American motorcycle enthusiasts, Harley-Davidson is known as the king of America's roads. However, in 1980...
product, and now we're about to learn the ugly lesson. We're saying there's all this buzz in the market, very, very positive word of mouth. People are interested. People are coming into dealerships that hadn't before. Floor traffic was up and sales went down. 1986 was the worst year in the company's history after the bankruptcy. I mean, it just couldn't possibly be a worse scenario to happen. So that's when a lot of people thought, well, they had their chance, they had their window of time. And I'm talking about people inside the company. We had our chance, we had our time, and we blew it. And the lesson that we learned here, simply put, is if you live by product, you're going to die by product, because you cannot make your product your competitive lever. In a world where everyone has competition, unless you have something that's absolutely brand new that nobody has ever seen before, if you are competing in an existing market and relying on your product, or eventually even your service, to give you your competitive advantage, you're essentially dooming yourself, because you're going up against other businesses that have product that is equally good and a lot of times priced lower. So we made customers, potential customers, focus on our product as our competitive lever. And they all said, wow, this stuff looks really good and it's awesome, but I can get a Honda for 40% of the price of the Harley. Why wouldn't I do that? And we did not have an answer for that. That's why it was the worst year.
1985, the iconic brand found itself within just hours of bankruptcy, overwhelmed by the Japanese competition, the recession that had hit America, and the onslaught of management missteps
in the company's history. All that investment in product and all that incredible success around the product and making it great brought something into the marketplace that the world saw as great, but on par with everything. Hey, you're back in the game. Awesome. What else have you got? And we didn't have anything else.
On page 108 of your boom book, you'll read a Seth Godin quote. And Seth
I don't
Godin,
like Seth.
You don't like Seth? Seth said, he said, in a crowded marketplace, fitting in is failing. Not standing out is the same as being invisible. Boring is invisible. Remarkable people and products get talked about. You began to do things that were remarkable, that created a culture, an experience, a people who are willing to get tattoos of your brand. Now, I'm not knocking anybody out here who's a plumber or a dentist or a lawyer, but wouldn't it be cool if people loved your dentistry so much that you come in the next time and they've got Dr. Doug's dental tattooed on their arm? Like, man, you sold out. I mean, wouldn't it be cool if you're Nike, you get people see Nike tattoos, you see Apple tattoos, and so you guys created a brand that was so remarkable that people were willing to tattoo themselves with it. How did you go about doing that?
Let me tell you how we did this. The beauty of what we did is entirely born out of failure. And the only reason I say that is because people say, how did you discover all these new ideas to do anything, to do something different? How did you get people to support it and rally behind it? And it was like, because we didn't have any money to do anything else. And secondly, because frankly, we were all fighting to save our jobs. What was it that motivated people?
Company needed to change something if it was going to survive. And in 1985, the company did just that.
Simple. It's the thought of not getting a paycheck in a city like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or York, Pennsylvania, where there were no other employers. There's nothing else for people to do. It was awful. So let me tell you another accidental discovery that we stumbled onto by accident that completely changed the trajectory of the business. Because we were getting all these really positive write-ups about product, and because the product really did kick, it was, you know, spectacular and beautiful and everything else, we were really challenged by this notion of if we could get people to get on one of these things, take it for a ride, and have the same sort of experience that these guys that these critics at the bike mags are having, well, then they would see how awesome it is. The unfortunate reality was, in the bike market in the mid-1980s, there was no such thing as a test ride. Nobody, no Honda, Yamaha, BMW, Kawasaki, nobody would allow people to take their products for a test ride because there was too much fear of liability. Somebody's going to crash, they're going to sue us, right? And the whole house of cards is going to come tumbling down. We had, thank God, a very different perception of risk management, and it was essentially, we're broke, sue us. We haven't got anything.
I want to bring this up real quick because this is powerful. And on page 111, this is an action step you have to do to do what to take what he's teaching and make it practical for your life. That's called a no-brainer. It's a deal so good. I mean, to test drive a Harley.
In 1985, Ken Schmidt was hired as the company's chief communication officer and was charged with communicating to both customers and potential investors.
For the low cost of free, that seems kind of fun. That's not conventional. Dr. Zellner, my partner who you met last night, his glasses, the first pair of glasses and the exam are $99. Doesn't make a lot of money on that deal, but they want you to come back and buy other stuff. Our first haircut at Elephant in the Room is $1. It's a deal so good, how could you say no to it? Everybody in here needs a no-brainer. So on page 111, there are a lot of no-brainers listed for you. And you need to find the one that's going to work for you. But if you guys hadn't done that test drive move, it probably wouldn't have worked out, right?
And so see, well, here's the big takeaway from that. So we took all of our money that would have been spent advertising. You know, everybody says it's really hard to measure the effectiveness of advertising. Well, I can tell you this, when you're advertising and selling nothing, it's very easy to put it. Our advertising isn't working.
Carry the 1, 0.
Very allocation of resources, as they say in accounting spheres. So our idea was, instead of advertising, we're going to lease 2 trucks, 2 semis, and we're going to load these trucks up with bikes, 44 bikes to a truck, take them out anywhere where there's likely to be a lot of blue-collar, metal bending type people, our traditional customers, and allow anybody with a bike license or anything that, if you kind of squinted your eyes, look like a bike license, put them on the bike and let them go for 15 miles. Detroit, Tulsa, Cleveland, these metal bending kind of old school cities, a lot of people were showing up. They were taking tests.